Thanks for staying with us. So we're still discussing bullying, how to curb bullying in children, how to build confidence in our kids. Joining us is a family therapist, mental health consultant, Ruqoyah Ogunbiyi. Thank you.
Ruqoyah.
Ruqoyah. Oh, sorry. That was bad.
Sorry. Should we do a little
It's all right.
exercise?
It's all right. Go ahead.
Ruqoyah.
Ruqoyah.
Okay, great. Thank you for having me.
Good to have you. So you've heard our conversation. Obviously, you know what happened to Sylvester. You've gotten different perspectives from what we've said, but we want to understand, because most of the time they say parents struggle with their first child because they don't really understand. Nobody teaches us how to be a parent, and then we're just learning along the way, and in the process, one person has died right now. Someone is a parent of those bullies. Those bullies have parents who probably didn't do the right job of dealing with the bullying tendencies within their own children. Of course, we'll deal with that school another time. The school is a different topic. We would deal with the school. But today, we're dealing with how parents can spot bullying in their own child, the tendency to be a bully, and how parents can build up the confidence level of their children to be able to say that, I'm being bullied. What's the first step you would say any parent watching should observe? Okay,
so with regards, so I'll start with your first question. Identifying bullying in a child. The truth is, no child is exactly born that, oh, this child wants to become a bully. However, different tendencies in a child can actually, increase the risk of that child being a bully. So, for example, if you have a child with a feisty personality and is quite impulsive, their intention, in all honesty, may not necessarily be to invoke harm. It may just be that, okay, I'm hearing this conversation, it's not going the way I want it to go, and the first thought in my head is, it's this person. Remember, I said impulsive, feisty personality. So the first step is, what kind of personality does your child have? In knowing the type of personality of your child, you will know the areas of strength of that child and areas of weakness. So, for example, feisty personality means that there's a high chance that your child gets to a place, they have lots of friends, they're able to, they're probably going to be liked by their teachers. It also means that other children will want to be their friends because sense of belonging is a core developmental milestone children will go through. So because they want to associate with a popular person, they would want to do the bidding of the popular person. So now that I know that my child is quite feisty, she's impulsive in the sense that, she says things as she sees it, or is quick to do things without thinking, and you say, didn't you think about it? So you already now know that the areas of strength is social skills. It also now means that the areas of weakness for this personality will be impulsivity in relationship with other people. So that kind of child is not the child you let go without teaching emotional intelligence. You want to teach emotional intelligence, teach them about, okay, this thing that you did it wrong, but what were you thinking about? Oh, I thought that if I did this. So, for example, I used to know of a child that he had ADHD. And one of the core features of ADHD is impulsivity. So he was on a dinner table.
Pause, please. What's ADHD?
Oh, I apologize. Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder.
Okay.
Right. So he was on the school. They were eating together for lunch, and he was looking at another child gulping water. So in his head, it was just like, if I eat him like this, he did it, and the boy almost choked. Oh, so the thing is, he didn't think about it as I'm hurting. He was just looking at the reaction of how water would, and that is impulsive. So, for example, if you already know that this is the tendencies my child have, or
we need to go to school for this thing.
Sometimes you may have to do like a behavioral screening, and I usually would recommend that schools, parents, particularly when you have concerns about your child's social skills, do a behavioral screening. It will help you know the tendencies of your child and prevent situations like this, and then give you skills or emotional intelligence that the child needs. So, for example, that child, whenever you would think of things like that, the new style will not be write it down. Ask another person, if I do this thing, how will it look like? Ask another adult, ask like 3 people. So remember, impulsivity means that I just do it as it came to my head. But by the time I'm asking 3 people, at least one person will be able to tell me that this is wrong. That's on the side of impulsivity. There's also the side that children actually grow up with a particular behavioral disorder that is called conduct disorder. So conduct disorder is literally how it starts from not obeying rules from family setting, then moving to school setting. So children and conduct disorders are actually very reflected in older kids, so like preteens and teenagers. So, but then it would have started from them disobeying rules consistently
at home,
or disobeying people in authority in one
So from
familiar
what you're
setting.
saying, most of these things, as a parent, you should have observed.
You should have observed, in all honesty.
Yeah.
So the setting in which your child, so of course, impulsivity, you already know that your child is quite
Just
impulsive, just jumps to do things. Also, when your child consistently breaks rules, consistently at home, you say this is the same child
the other way.
that should give you an insight that, okay, there should be more.
But shouldn't children normally, I believe that children normally experiment. Like, is it not normal for a child to, if you say, don't touch the cup, like I know that the child would want to, when you say don't touch, that's when they will now want to go and touch. Is that not like a normal thing that children do? At what point does it become a conduct disorder?
Let me ask you that. Is it normal? And then, is it okay if the child questions? Because my second child, if you say don't do it, why?
Yes,
That one
it's
is okay.
absolutely.
Is it okay?
It is absolutely. In fact, as a matter of fact, the curiosity that comes with raising kids is very essential because it means that they're learning. When I say consistently breaking rules, so you have explained that, oh, do not touch this thing because this is why. And then behind your back, they do it first time. So and this grows as they get older. So for example, your 4-year-old tries it first time. Consistently, every day, all the things you say that don't do, they break all the rules. In fact, I usually say, okay, keep a chart. In 1 week, how many rules does this child break? Normally, the curiosity of the child is supposed to allow the child to explore the environment. That I want to do this, I want to do this. But if you notice, once you say that, oh, do not do this, this is a rule, many times they actually do not really go close to that one. If they will come and ask you for permission, ask you for ways they can work around it, look for ways around it. But when they consistently, as though they do not give a care to you consistently, and this many times you begin to notice it from age 4 up until age 6, 7, and consistently. So they do that at home. They do that so they graduate from home to school. So at home, it may not necessarily be you. It may be the nanny at first. So consistently, they would break the rules consistently. So that, if it's not addressed properly at that point, it graduates to the school. So in school, they're consistently doing that.
So how do you address this consistent disobedience from a child that you've noticed?
So I'll let you answer that question after we take this short break. Please stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So we've been having personalized consultation session one after the other with Ruqoyah here. So,
yeah, I asked the question earlier how you handle a child who consistently disobeys and is going further. I also want to add another one. We are in a country where the country is a bully. Everybody is a bully. Everybody bullies one way or the other.
Oh, gosh.
As adults, governments, your bosses, everywhere you go, one form of bullying or the other. Do you actually think that we can be able to raise children who are not bullies if the whole society is a bully? Everybody is bullying and people need to protect themselves. Do you think it's possible? But first of all, give us the answer to the first one.
The first one is, how do you curb the consistent
Disobedience.
So, for example, as I had said, consistently disobeying rules and then getting away with it is actually the problem. Because it means that once I get away with it, or whatever I do to get away with it, reinforces the fact that I can do it again. So if you realize that, okay, your child consistently disobeys rules, you start with a reward consequence system. So basically it's about, okay, first of all, you want to keep a track. So, we're Nigerians, I don't trust people when you say your children disobey rules. It could be that maybe that's one thing they did in the day, and then that's the only thing you're seeing. So if you keep a chart, for example, these are the rules, you have already identified the rules, you have shared it with your children, and then you literally have that list. So in a week, how many times did this child break these rules? So if it's like maybe 7 out of 7, so every day this child is always breaking this particular rule, then you can now go back, okay, you have been breaking this particular rule, regardless of age. And because I had also said that this is prominent, particularly between ages 5 and 7. So this is an age you can actually have the communication with your child. So you're asking, why do you consistently break this rule? So for example, you don't like a child wearing slippers in the house, and your child consistently wears slippers. If you do not have the communication, you may not know that your child doesn't like putting their legs on cold feet. So have that, what's it called?
Conversation?
Have that conversation to know why this is happening. After explaining, oh, this is why this is happening, then we can walk around it. Okay, then that means that you need a thick socks in the house. Wear thick socks. So if after giving the option of thick socks, the child still
Goes
wears
back
the
to the
slippers,
slippers.
then we now say, okay, let's prompt you. Where do you pick your slippers from? At the door. Let me put a sticker here. Remove your slippers, wear socks. So you have gone, before you get to the point of consequence, it's a full-time job. Before you get to the point of consequence, you have put in all the modalities that your child needs to put in place, that you need to put in place to ensure that your child follows that rule. After that, you can then now even say that, oh, if you do not wear your slippers in 5 times, you know, we're talking about, let's say, a 6-year-old, 5 times out of 7 days, I would give you extra time on video games. It's not like you're rewarding that, oh, you're actually now, because if they do the right thing, if they do the wrong thing, you will punish them. So if they do the right thing, why not reward? So reward it. So after using the reward system and this child is still not listening, then we can switch to consequence. Right? So for example, I have tried all that I have said consistently still over another 6 weeks, my child will still not obey this rule. Then I can switch to consequence. Okay, what are the things I want to withdraw? What privileges do I want to withdraw? What punishments do I want to put in place? So depending on how you perceive the severity of the rule your child is consistently breaking. If you do this consistently, number one, it sets the boundaries that I do not break rules. These rules are rules, I do not break them. And they are not able to get away with it. If they are not able to get away with it, it means that they will not test. They have not succeeded in one area and then go to the next area and be like,
Let me try them.
I did it with my mom and she didn't do it. I can do it at school, so I can do it like that. And if you notice, the students that are consistently being beaten, particularly when we were in school, for breaking a particular rule, were the ones that were consistently breaking
the same rules. Yeah.
So it means that there was more.
They have a pattern.
There's a pattern. So if you would even remember, 1 or 2 times, their parents have also come to the school. If you would remember, 1 or 2 times. So they've broken that, and of course, if you do not get it right at that early age.
So let's switch to, so what we've been dealing with the person being bullied, with the person bullying, and that's behavior. I want us to also deal with the people that are on the receiving end of being bullied, you know, because one of the things that they thrive on is the bully makes you feel like if you tell anybody, the situation will get worse. So many people that get bullied, I never told my parents the level of bullying I went through, and many people did not tell their parents how severe what they were dealing with was. How do we now raise the confidence of our children so that they can speak up for themselves?
The first thing is, what do we call bullying? First things first, many of us think bullying is teasing. So you'd have 2 children playing, and maybe one hits the other child. They say, you are too strong, so you remember what's buruju. We actually do not see, our definition of bullying is somewhat skewed. And I would say, with all responsibility, until Sylvester's case, many of us still do not address bullying in the entirety of what bullying is.
Okay.
So, bullying is, there's the bully, there's the bullied, there are bystanders. Yeah. So many times we focus on the bully. And we say bullying must be stopped. The bullied, maybe their parents will do something, but then they are bystanders too. So what happens in bullying is this. When somebody has, you know, again, in children, a developmental milestone they have to go through is sense of belonging and sense of acceptance. So anything that makes me different, I personally, I'm already capitalizing on it. And then remember, there's also the sense of belonging, like, oh, we want to be a group. So when we notice one person being different, there's a high chance that we will pick on that person for being different. So the first thing for parents is, what are the things about your child that make them stand out? So we forget our child maybe has a birthmark on their face, and we just assume that, oh, they would not fit. No, that child, you really have to start teaching that child, okay, oh, these are the things people can say to you. Don't let, you know, these are the things people can say to you. So my son stammers.
Prepare him that because you stammer, they might begin to behave funny, understand that.
Exactly. So these are the things. As such, when you've been able to tell the bully about the things that make them different, and sometimes it may just be the things that actually, maybe they're just very intelligent, the best students in class, always raising their hand, and then they're just like, is it only in this class? And you understand those things. So you have to, first of all, understand the things that make your child different. There are certain things that we already know that people will pick on for being different. Then the next stage is the relationship you have with your child before the bullying starts is the relationship that will take you further.
Exactly. So,
So
build quality relationships.
if you have never had any quality relationship and then your child is in GS3, you're not saying, is anybody bullying you? It's already late because your child was not supposed to.
Let me take this call from Adeleke from Shomolu, then I'll come to Nimas. Oh, so sorry. I think we lost Adeleke. I'm so sorry. Adeleke called from Shomolu. So you said first identify the weakness within your child and find a way to help them understand that because of these things that are unique about you, you might get some verbal bullying or physical bullying from children, from other people in your class, and help to build that child up. Then you also mentioned that we should identify a very smart child. If the child is very smart, they might get bullying. You also mentioned the fact that parents have a responsibility to build a relationship with their children from when they are young, not when they now become GSS1 or GSS2. You're not asking questions without having that foundational. So you made those 3 points. Nima, you're going to.
Okay, so I wanted to ask about noticing the people around that you put around your child. So for my own parenting, the problem I had was at this point I had a girl who would always be around my child, and she is a constant breaking rule person. So one time I asked my child had said something, and I found out different. I was like, "Did you lie to me?" She said, "I'm sorry, mommy." And this is something she would have been very, very remorseful about. And then the next time she was like, "But Auntie so does it all the time, and she gets away with it. Why are you so angry?" And then I started to notice around. So how alert must parents be about the person around them? How do you deal with that person? Because my reaction is now a cause of judgment. I cannot deal with somebody I can't change, so I cut off. I keep please, because I'm dealing with this now, and I'm supposed to find an inclusive way to bring them. Is that the right thing to do? Must I find that inclusive way? If I don't have the time to do that, should I cut off? And how?
All right, so I'll let you answer. Please note the question. I'll let you answer it after we take this call from Ola, who's called from Papaja. Welcome to the show. Good morning, Ola.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Please, I just want to contribute to the program.
Okay,
because
go ahead.
I'm the first-time caller.
Welcome to the show.
Yes, I'm always at home, so I have a daughter. So I don't always go out. But anytime we step out, she's always happy seeing other children. But not that place. So I discovered that some children, they will start beating her, but she's always happy seeing them. So I like to say that if anybody beats you, try to beat your own back. Just think because you are playing with them, they should use it as an advantage. But now I discovered that people, those that are older than her, she's just treatless. If they just beat her like this, or she beat them. So I don't know how to stop it. So now, sometimes people will tell me that, your daughter, if anything happens like this, she will beat a child in the class. But I just like that. But this thing goes in my mind that I hope I'm not at fault here. So I don't know how to actually stop it. Because I don't like it. But she will tell me, Mommy, she keeps me up. I said, but you need to do. You have to report to your sister, so I cannot stop that.
Sorry.
Ola, that was a very good question. I can totally relate with that. So how can you help out Ola, who's raised up her child to fight back for herself, and now the child is now fighting everybody? How do you find that balance?
Okay, so I'm going to start with
Nima's question.
So the thing is, children will learn from the environment they're being raised. And remember how I said that a particular behavior, when they get away with it, it reinforces that behavior. So what they see too also reinforces it. So if this person is able to get away with this thing, why can't I do it and get away with it? Now, the onus is now on you to say, is this person in my house, is this something I can invest my time, effort, and energy on to correct this thing? Because if the person is not your child, so there may be the conflict of, this person is not really my child. Do I really want to put in the effort? But if you want to do that, and this person is going to be consistently in your house, it may have to be a thing that you would have to work on that. Okay, in our own household, these are the things that you don't do. Another thing is, we have to have discussions with our children concerning the fact that someone else is doing something and they're getting away with it does not mean that they have to do it. So, and all of this will continuously happen because we're in a society with different, and it's not just even around bullying and how they respond to their emotions. There are different things. You still have your digital, you have the whole social media to deal with. You have different things to deal with. You just have to have your templates, your family templates, your family values. Literally, I would even recommend that you have a frame. In this house, we are this. This is how we are. This is how we respond. So regardless of whatever other people are doing, what's your own template? Right? So that's what I can say to that. Then for Ola, it's still the same thing. If my child is being bullied, if I say my child should beat back, it means that's the template that I have. I wouldn't say my child should beat back.
What would you say?
You should collect the beating.
No. So if my child is being bullied, first things first, report to the next authority. If the authority does not do something, I come in. Okay, report to the next person. Report. Keep reporting, because the moment you say it's okay for you to beat, you have given that child another template to manage their emotions. It means that whenever I am angry, it's okay for me to lash out at the other person. That's what you have just said. So the template should be consistent. Report continuously, regardless of how. And of course, again, you want to also keep a log. If this child has reported today, tomorrow this child has reported, it means that the person in charge is not doing anything about it. And that is where all the anti-bullying policies in schools is all about, is in. Anti-bullying policies should not be reactive. They should be proactive. So if I've already explained impulsivity, conduct behavior, it means that if I'm bringing 300 children together, I should be able to, identify the ones that will be impulsive and then give them the tools to be able to navigate their emotions.
Let me take this caller. Welcome to the show. I'll come back to you, YK. Good morning. James, are you there?
Yes, I'm there.
Awesome. Go ahead, please. We can hear you. You're live. You are live. You can go ahead with your contributions.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
How are you, Auntie? See, my daughter has been a victim. Can you hear me?
Yes, very well.
Okay, my daughter has been a victim of bullying, serious one, and she never told me. Each time I'm traveling home, because she was schooling in Ibadan, I'll drive to the school and see her, and she was suffering in silence. She wouldn't tell me. And when I'm coming back home, I'll drive there. One day I came to the school, I asked her, they said she's fetching water. I don't want to mention the name of the school, but she will go far into the bush, fetch water, come to the school and pour it on the ground. At the time I saw her, she had fetched water 18 times. In a bucket. Once she comes, she will ask her to pour it. And if you see those bullying her, in fact, so what I did was, I called her, Doctor, what is happening? She said, there is no problem. No problem, you are sweating, you are crying. He said, there is no problem. I said, okay, follow me. She put the bucket down. Maybe she followed me. I put her inside my car. Straight back to Lagos. He never came back to that date. And that effect is still haunting her up to today. So parents should be active. If you put a child in the school far away from you, try and be visiting.
Yes.
Somebody that can be seeing her,
very important.
Seeing her well-being.
Thank you.
Otherwise, you will not say you will die silent.
Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much, James, for that. YK.
So I was going to say, a lot of these schools, they do not have people who are in charge of, not just like counselors, and they have to be real, not just somebody from the street that says, I'm a counselor and I don't know anything about counseling. I didn't study it, I just got there and said, I'm a counselor. Real, the correct people that know the job. Psychologists, all these, especially the boarding houses, where all kinds of atrocities can happen there. I mean, I know this child who went to his guardian and said, look, he's been a boarder, he doesn't want to be a boarder anymore. And he said, you are going to be a boarder. He says, no. So, and I was there when then he sends me a text. Maybe you can help me explain. That I have been sodomized.
Oh my God.
And not only have I been sodomized, I now enjoy it.
Oh my
and I don't want to enjoy it. So I don't want to go back there.
Gosh.
Oh, my God.
Do you understand? So a lot of these schools, you just start a school, you don't know what is happening inside the school.
So our guest yesterday said there must be a child protection policy
That is
for every school, and I think we should start asking, what's your child
they
protection
should even
policy?
be present in the school. You know, I'm not just the one that will be chewing chewing gum and saying I'm a child protector. No, that's what they do. They don't take the job seriously. We have to find a way
my God.
to get this, to do this job seriously, because the children are the future.
Yes, so...
And what is happening? When you see what is happening with our children, you know that it is from...
Something is wrong. Something changed. Something happened.
Something
You
happened.
mentioned earlier that, you know, a child is constantly reporting to an authority and still has to continue reporting. It means that something is not being done.
Yeah.
So what should be done?
What's the time, when a child says to you, I don't want to, like YK said, I don't want to be here. As a parent, what should be your reaction?
Personally, I would
Please
say,
let me take your reply. We have a caller from Jos. You would answer that question after this contribution. Welcome to the show. Good morning. Are you there, Bola?
Yes, I'm here. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
First caller on the show.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you, thank you. Well, I have a son in Primary 4. He has always been bullied. And each time he comes home, he will tell me he needs to change his class. I asked him why. That a particular girl is always bullying him. I went to the school, I reported to the teachers on 3-4 occasions. And on the 5th time, I told my boy, please, if she slaps you, please give her a hot one. So when I told him, and I went to the teachers, I told them, I've already given my son instructions. If any girl or any boy bullies him, you should slap the person. They said they were going to address it. And as soon as I saw the mother to the girl, I told the mother, this is what I've told my son. If your child comes home and reports my son, this is what I've told him to do. And you know, since then, everything has stopped. So I don't know whether I'm right or I'm wrong.
No, Nima, we have...
You told the
Bola,
parents now.
thank you for your contribution. I think so we need to address this one. We've already, she has established that we shouldn't tell our children to fight back. We should tell them to report. But like she said, and Nima also said it, that was Nima's question. If you report and report and report and nothing is being done, what should child do? I like what that girl, what the man did. The man said that I took my daughter and we drove to Lagos.
But you have not
take your child from the environment, you can then come back and address it, but you must protect your child. Your first assignment is to protect your child.
Your first assignment is to protect your child. So remember how I had said that report. If a child reports the first time and then nothing is being done, and then the second time, then I go to the school. Then you go to the school.
And cause grace.
No. I shouldn't say you should cause grace. And go to the school and get to the bottom of this. Okay, who is this child reporting to? So remember how I said that anti-bullying should not be reactive. The perception of the person they are reporting to based on bullying is actually what is skewed here. It means that when this child has come to report, you didn't think it was important enough to be addressed. So when a child reports first time, second time, I would recommend that you take your child away from that school. Because it means that whoever is at the other end, even if you did go to the school and resolve it, it means that another time it can happen. And if you notice, there are people who had gone to the school at least 2 times. They went the first time, the child got to another class, maybe at another year. The same thing is happening. So it's the culture of the school.
Okay, yeah, so we've had, some teachers come out to say that they allow some of these things because they are not allowed to discipline the children. Is that not just giving excuses? So we are against corporal punishment for the children because it's almost the same thing. And now you have children who are bullying each other, and you say because you are not allowed to give them corporal punishment, that's why you turn a blind eye. Can you help me address this?
First things first, resolving bullying amongst children is has nothing to do with corporal punishment. The only corporal punishment that I'm referring to is beating with cane.
Yes.
Right. So there are other ways that you could have actually resolved it. That's a very funny
silly
excuse, because if you had an anti-bullying policy and then a committee that addresses bullying, that is not a thing.
Without any corporal punishment, you can achieve
you
results.
can achieve the results that you want. You're finding out more about the situation, how frequent this happens. You also want to find out the other people who witness these things, because they are also either going to be bullies or be bullied themselves.
They're traumatized already.
They're already traumatized.
Can you quickly answer the question I asked about Nigeria as a bully? The society is a bully. How do you think we can end bullying where every aspect of society, you see bullies, the powerful, the rich bully, the poor, we're all bullies. How can we now raise children who understand empathy? Yes, is it possible?
It is possible. So the truth is, like any other value that you have, you reinforce your own value and then tell your child what is available. So this is what is available. You would see people. So, for example, you drive past a traffic stop. You see other people do it, but you stop regardless. So it's also part of the things you want to explain to your child. So we're not going to pretend like as if certain things are not happening. So as your children get older, particularly around the values that are important to you, also these are the things that you find in the society. This is, okay, your child is going to this particular school, and these are the things that these are the things you would notice. These are the things that can be done. But we don't do this. This is why we don't do this. This is the kind of future we want for you. This is why all of this is important. So the discussion is unending. It's a lot of work.
I wanted to ask because since we've been talking, I think we've been talking about physical bullying. So something happened like consider bullying in school. I got to my child's school for open day, and another child just came and said, I saw her beating up a younger child. Because I'm against physical bullying, I didn't ask my child if she was being set up. I didn't think that girl would lie. So I brought her in front of the class to embarrass her and address the issue. And
she has problems.
So my partner was looking. And the teacher who had, balanced teacher that they had, who had noticed all the children, said, no, she couldn't have done that. And I kept saying, my daughter, this one, she's fasting. And so they called the child who was supposedly being beaten. And she said, no, I tapped her first playfully, and then she tapped me back, and we laughed about it. And that was because she's in a junior class, and I felt embarrassed. Now, I have done something wrong, clearly. I apologize. But the girl who did that to my daughter was bullying her and trying to say, I know your mom is against this kind of thing, so I'm going to tell your mom because I know you're going to get beaten.
Set you up.
She got it because that was immediately how I reacted. So are there other forms of bullying that that parents must also look out for when this happens? And how do they go to the root of the problem?
And just before you go, I wanted to say, parents too are bullies.
Yes.
How can we address the parents that are bullies? Shut up! I said sit down there.
Yes.
It's a form of bullying.
How can we address Nima?
That we are bullying our children.
Yeah.
So I want you to address that as well.
Okay, so again, our parenting is a reflection of how we were raised.
Yes.
So my mom did the same thing Nima did. And of course, it's, let me discipline her. So when we abuse children, we call it discipline. And what we do not understand is they're learning. It means that when they're at a point where they have anyone that is above them, the way to correct anyone younger to you is to shout, is to beat. So your older kids may beat your younger kids. Your younger child that is quite feisty may say, hello, I can beat you, and I'll beat you too. So everything you're doing, you're forming a template, because the child literally comes with no template, comes with neurons picking from the environment. So what you have done is you have told your child that when I am angry, when someone has done something wrong to you, this is how you should respond. And that's the template. So that's even what goes out to schools and that we're referring to as bullying, because we have seen I have seen someone that I have power over, and this is how to show my displeasure to this person, because that's what you show. So parents, it's true. Many of us were bullies.
I want us to talk about boarding school, because when you see your child every day, you sort of can be able to, even though some parents have proximity without presence, so they are around but they don't really see. But it's worse off when you only see your child once in a month, and you're only seeing your child for a few hours in a month. And some people are now saying, no to boarding house. What are parents doing, Seth? Why would you send your child? You gave birth, you cannot take care of your child, all that stuff. So that there's a lot of reaction going on right now. And it is making parents who have chosen boarding house feel bad about their parenting. What is the right answer from a child psychologist's perspective? How should we address boarding house? Do you advocate for boarding house? Do you say no to boarding house? And if a parent has to go through boarding, how do you best, would you prepare a parent for that circumstance of seeing your child only once in a month or twice a month?
I would always and will forever say, if you would send your child to a boarding school, it means that you, before that child had gone to a boarding school, you have been a hands-on parent, you have been an intentional parent, you have taught your child emotional intelligence. So it means that first things first, you have given your child the skills, your child has skills. And then when you would now take your child to a boarding school, you have to understand that if a school does not have at least, boarding school, they don't have at least 3 counselors. You are not ready. Because what you're saying is 3 months, and 3 months when it comes to mental health disorders, particularly in children, is enough to breed a full depression. So because when you're saying that, as a therapist, if you would see someone, you would ask the person, how have you been in the last 2 weeks? Because that 2 weeks duration is what you're using to measure mood and all that. So a child is now there for 3 months. It means that the trigger could happen in the school, sustain, and then develop into a mental.
Everything can go wrong within the time.
What you're saying, if you're taking your child to a boarding school, okay.
Fine, like, just give me one line.
When you're taking your child to a boarding school or any school as such, when you are looking at the curriculum of what they're going to teach, I know IGCSE is important and all that, you also have to ensure that the emotional and psychological wellness of your child is also as important. The way they, in all their processes, is also as important as the academics.
Thank you so much. We've been speaking with a family therapist and mental health consultant, Ruqoyah Ogunbiyi. Ruqoyah Ogunbiyi, and she's taught us a lot. If you're just joining, you've missed the, like, you should go and watch it again. Let us just take the psychology of our health of our children very, very important. Thank you for your time. Thank you, ladies. That's what we can take on the show today. See you all tomorrow. Bye.